Om Shanti. Welcome to Avyakti Journey, Avyakti Parivar Chitchat, exploring together the depths of Baba's wisdom. Welcome, Brother Eric. Angel Brother Eric.
Yes, Om Shanti, Umiji, Mohini Ji, all the G's in the Avyakti Parivar G. Thank you for inviting me again. And so, Mohini Didi, I really enjoy what you are sharing about the way to make feelings pure, means clean and elevated. So the good wishes can be really efficient and they can be powerful. So I was wondering, I know you must be already, Mohini Didi, thinking of tomorrow's Murli. Didn't read it, but I'm still reflecting on last Sunday's Murli. And, this thought that Baba gave about either you want to become subtle, angel, or incorporeal. One thing that has to be happening first is to really become egoless. And I was wondering if we can have this little chit chat on our journey in making that happen. And I'm wondering what you think, Mohini Didi, about, sometimes I was listening Baba saying, what really is the opposite of, let's say, lust was to be altruistic, to be having no desires. And I always felt this is such an interesting idea that maybe ego is really about fulfilling subtle desires, our identity, what we want, everything. And I'm wondering, how would you see this ability to become egoless, connected with, what you were sharing, having pure feelings? Isn't it that Baba is asking us to be altruistic philanthropists today? And Murli was being philanthropists, great donors, great givers. And what stops us from being such unlimited givers is a little bit our own ego sometimes that is still trying to feed our own needs. So do you see a connection there with ego and also limiting ourselves in our ability to give others and to be great donors or philanthropists or altruistic?
Yeah, we want to give, but we want also be giving from that ego where there is a desire somewhere very deeply connected with my own recognition, in the sense of my personality should be recognized. I am very good giving knowledge, that should be recognized. So deeply within there are some desires which are more of self-interest. But still we want to do service in the sense of, serve a lot of people. So we want to give, but deeply within that ego which is there. Ego definitely is coming from your own desires, fulfillment of your own desires. And if you always think that it's Baba's knowledge and it's Baba who gives, I am just the instrument. But this admiration, appreciation, recognition, Baba calls it name and fame. It's a very subtle desire that I should be recognized. But what I find that more you can be very humble if you know that it's Baba who has given, and Baba has to be glorified. And you want to just remain incognito. At least that's what I like. I don't want that people should just mention my name or anything. It's Baba, And more you do that, more Baba puts you in front also. There are some, they have desire to be in front and they can't do it. They don't reach there. But there are some who are incognito and Baba puts them in front all the time. So to be humble, you have to be free from your own limited desires.
After hearing how Baba describes humility in the Murli last Sunday, I think we all want to be humble. You really want to be so humble. And sometimes I wonder, how do we evaluate? Baba mentioned so many different types of ego, and I wonder sometimes for myself, how do I know I still have ego? How do we know we have ego, or what types of ego we have? Is there an ego test that we can take somewhere?
Mm.
Is there a doctor that can take us an ego test and we know, okay, we still have ego? Is it important to know that we still have ego, or should I ask you and you can tell me if there is still some, or how does it work?
Deeply within lack of contentment, lack of feelings of fulfillment is really coming from your ego. Because, when you are humble, there is some kind of royalty, there is some kind of like inner fulfillment. And so I think that humble means you have received everything from Baba, because in ego, like your desires are popping up again and again. Oh, I could have been this, I should have been given this part, why my name was not mentioned. Like you keep feeling that something more should happen, be given to me. You don't have that deep contentment and fulfillment. So I think that Baba gives example that those who are like very, very high, good status, they always call themselves obedient servant. Baba gives example. But also, if you really meet anyone, royal family, many times in the plane, especially when I go from Udaipur, Udaipur was the king's there. And anytime royal family person gets in the plane, he will bow. It's like even people don't know he is from the royal family, but you can see personality. And because royal people are trained, so they are very healthy, they look royal, their clothes are royal, but their manners are very humble, in the sense of they don't come with that ego that I am from royal family, I am from king family. But their personality is humble, but also very royal. So I feel that ego is not royalty. Humility is great royalty. If you are really, really royal, royal means you are great, from whether family or your status, you will be very humble because you feel you are at service, you are for the service of humanity or your own people in your state. So I think that when it comes to real serving, it's really humility, no ego in there. You must have seen some leaders, they do so much, but they are very humble. And there are some, they have a lot of arrogance of their authority, their power, their status. So same could be for any Baba's child also.
And I understand, ego also, Baba made the connection with body consciousness. So we come from, of course, last birth where there is a lot of ego. And for many years, for me also, I felt I tried to be more and more egoless, more and more humble. But can we really become humble in a sense? You're in a situation and there's a discussion. Do you think we can, be more humble, or does it become natural? I asked you the same question many weeks ago about loving, and you told me, no, if you're loving, you're loving. You cannot force being loving. But same, if I don't want to be arrogant, if I really want to be humble, can we do something to really become more humble? Can we push it a little bit, or how do we become more humble?
You have to look at what percentage humanity is there. Is it 80% or 90%? So as much the humility is there, your deep response to every situation will come from that much percentage, right? I think that, again, no one can say I'm perfect, but it becomes very natural to be humble, like you're not trying or it's like you are not internally, you have desires, or I remember that it has a lot of attraction, humility also, and it's very visible because you are not looking for something out. You have, once I was sitting at Delhi airport and some situation was there. And I said, okay, let me sit, remember Baba, be peaceful. Some Air India officers came to me and said, so much is going on around. You're not getting impatient. They were shouting on people, staff of airline. And I said, how will it help, Even whatever they're doing whatever is not happening will happen. So what I'm saying that they were attracted by some vibrations and they came. And then they, of course, start talking about other things. I think that when you are naturally loveful, peaceful, not reacting to situations, not kind of, oh, I am the president of Brahma Kumari, so this should be done for me. No, you don't want that recognition necessarily, right? But you are naturally peaceful. You are still loving to those people. So they come to you, vibrations. So I think if you're maintaining that royalty of love and purity and peace and all that, also comes from your humility.
I was
I don't know
fascinated because
if I'm connecting with what you're saying.
yeah, definitely. And to me, it's connected as well to this whole month, because going into silence and we want to experience this Avyakt stage and being, close to Brahma Baba in a subtle form. But when Baba mentioned about, what stops you from almost being in your angelic stage, is still this ego, which is preventing you from being natural and constant in your angelic or even incorporeal stage. So it's like before becoming bodiless, I need to become egoless. And in my mind, I put it the other way around. Before, I thought to become egoless, I have to be bodiless first. Now I was confused and I said, okay, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? And I feel that's fascinating that in a way, the ego stops us from being very subtle. And yet the ego is very subtle to recognize and to remove. So I don't know if I can be personal and ask you a personal question. If there was some times in your Brahmin life where you consciously really tried to remove whatever ego could have been there, any form of ego, did you feel that there was a specific effort to become more egoless, or it just became natural? I don't know, just without even thinking about it.
I could think about the example of a tree. And as much fruits tree has, that much it bows and goes lower. So if you have inner attainments, right? Means if you have contentment, you are happy, you are all that, you are naturally humble. So of course, this bodiless stage and egoless stage have deep connection. But I also feel that when you have fruits and attainments, when you are successful, when we are truly successful, they are all humble. I don't know how many of you know that Air India had been taken over by a private company called Tata's, right? And they owned it before, and now again government has sold it. And if you look at, once he was at the airport with us in the lounge, and he was kind of not even, because people were escorting him, and somebody told us he's Tata's. And so it's so interesting to see he was so incognito, so humble. And, he's producing the things he's producing at this time in India are amazing. So I think real great people are always humble. That is the reality. Humility is the reality. Ego is built up like, again, I would say when there is, in Hindi self-respect is called Soman. Like you know your own respect, then you don't have to have Abhiman. Abhiman is arrogance. So it's lack of self-respect also. People try to act with ego. They walk like that, they dress up like that, or, they even talk like that, because somewhere they are filling in their self-respect. So I feel that this practice of self-respect, Soman, can remove our Abhiman. So it's not only body consciousness, but it's all what the qualities soul has. More you immerse them, more ego will disappear. Because ego had been created, right? So we have to diminish it, demolish it both ways. So through self-respect practice, I think this month, it can definitely keep reducing whatever little ego we have.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't know, for me, I'll sometimes see it. I say something and afterwards I say, was there a little bit of ego in there? Maybe there was a little bit. Okay. So, and when Baba mentioned there are so many forms, I was trying to think, what are all the forms? I was doing a checkup, thinking my eyes, my ears, everything, where is the ego? And, there is the ego of the body, ego of the intellect, ego of personality, ego of possessions. There's so many. And then I realized there's so many. And I was trying to connect ego being the little problem with selflessness being what Baba really is trying to make us feel. And I remember the daddies, I never heard daddy saying, oh, daddy would like this, she has any personal needs, or daddy telling me I want to go play tennis. I mean, she never told me she wanted to go and play tennis. So she seemed like she always wanted to serve people, always. And for me, I find sometimes, well, I'd like to have a bit of time for me. And I remember when I was very young in Gyan, and there would be evenings when I would be a little bit tired and I was a bit negative in my mind. And I was telling Baba, please don't send any student tonight. I don't want anybody. And I was almost hiding in my bedroom, hoping at 7 nobody will ring at the door, as I want the evening for myself. And at 7:05, I thought, oh, that's it. I have the evening for me. It's okay. And then 7:05, the door would ring, and I thought, oh, no, a student is coming. And I will feel so good, of course, after giving gyan and spending an hour. But there was still a feeling that, I need time for myself. And now I realize, okay, I've changed, but still the selflessness. Am I becoming completely selfless? Not that I say that it's okay. I'm still playing tennis and enjoy it, but the heart to be selfless.
Brahma Baba used to go for walk every morning. Baba used to play badminton. Baba used to play cricket. I myself played with Baba. Dadi Prakashmari used to enjoy playing when we go to Peace Park and little bit of walking, but keeping a balance, We shouldn't think everything is self-interest, because if you hear New Year's message, Baba said, we all have to also take care of body, right? So these days, I propose everyone to do some breathing exercises, do some stretches, because, we have to give some time to the body. So I don't see it as ego, because whatever we are doing to keep body healthy, and if you are healthy, you can do more service of Baba. Like today, I accepted that I cannot travel. I got so many invitations, honestly. So many places and beautiful, beautiful invitations. And I had to say, no, I cannot. You all come and I can meet you in Shantivan. And then I think sometimes that I could have done better for the body if I would have taken care in a different way. So I think that pure feeling, again, good wishes for your own body. And if you're going for tennis, I think it's okay. You can play tennis. There is no ego involved. But definitely for your job, for your BK life, a good example, you need a healthy body, right? So to keep a healthy, like Brahma Baba, he was 90 plus and he was so healthy because he went for walk regularly. He played badminton regularly. In the evening, he will come out and walk around the kitchen and have a little kind of long walk. So I don't see anything physically you're doing is ego. I'm just clearing it, And so some of the things like I give example that fragrance of rose, like different kind of people came to meet Baba. So little bit of rose water, uh, they will sprinkle on Baba's body, or Baba himself will do it. I don't see that as ego. I see it because, everybody has a different smell, and some people it's very difficult. You feel very allergic to it. So I think that some of the things, if we see everything as ego, everything as body conscious, how do we take care of body? I'm not taking care of body because like that day Ron was telling me, you look same. And they say, what you do? I said, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That's what I practice, in the sense of be truthful and always think benevolent about others and be blissful. That keeps you well. But there are physical things which I had been recommending. We have arranged here at 10:30, one of the teacher, she teaches everyone, those who want to join, breathing exercises and some stretches, because you can't walk, you have pains here, your hands, arthritis, this, that. Because as body gets old, it gets more stiff, you need something. So when you mention badminton, I know that I recommend people these days to do something physical so that they can, every morning after Murli, Bhumi Ben chants Om, and then she has 20 minutes of exercise. And people are, many old mothers, their hands, their arthritis has gone, and it's very popular. So I think that we have to take care of body, don't connect it with the ego. But yes, some might be very conscious of their personality. But if you inspire us, there is inspiration. But there is also what we call pure ego, no?
Right.
Pure pride, which Baba call it ruhab, like your personality is such that people could feel your royalty, or they might feel you have arrogance, but it's self-respect, it's self-pride.
Yeah, I've come to appreciate, of course, the balance, and I do enjoy, and I don't feel guilty about taking time. But I was thinking really about altruism in serving others. Like checking my own ego if I share or if I spend time with people, and really asking myself, am I really humble? Am I really selfless? When is the time to serve? When is the time to think of others, think of the world? I'm wondering sometimes. So that's just the question. Maybe we can continue tomorrow as well, but it's really the beauty of to become egoless in so many ways, because ego has so many different forms. And to become truly egoless means truly altruistic, like Baba is, of course, and the daddies and you. So that was my interest, to find out how to remove ego in subtle traces. And I can see that still traces are there. Like Baba said, that's why I'm not feeling as an angel constantly on a permanent basis, but it's coming.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you, Mohini Didi, and we'll continue tomorrow on that.
Okay.
Good night and Om Shanti, everyone.
Good night.